Hello, dear ones. Father Peter John coming to you from All Saints in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is in our midst. The gospel reading for yesterday came from Matthew chapter 22, where Jesus is talking about what to do if a brother sins against you. And Jesus gives this advice. He says, if a brother sins against you, go to him privately and tell him alone what it was that happened. And if he refuses to acknowledge what it is that has happened, then go and take one or two witnesses with you so that you can make peace with this brother with these witnesses there. And he says if this doesn't work with the 2 or 3 witnesses, then take it to the church. And I'm going to stop there as far as the gospel is concerned, because I just kind of wanted to highlight briefly the difference between that teaching of Jesus and what we currently see in our day. Right? What we currently see in our day often is, if a brother sins against you or offends you in some way, then you're going to talk about it on social media until he's shamed into either disappearing from the face of the earth or making an excruciating public apology. We kind of jump to the end of the line there. In our day and age, that happens often, and it can be extremely hurtful, can cause great anxiety to many people, and it's important for us to look at the example and the teaching of Christ. So I just want to encourage everyone, especially since there's so much going on right now. Some people are offended about what this person has said about the coronavirus lockdown, and other people are on the other side of the issue and they're offended by what the other people were saying. People are talking about the riots and racism and all sorts of things. There's just so many hot button issues out there right now. And of course, as Christians, we want to be at peace with people. We want to be forgiving, and we'd like to be forgiven. So if we go to these words of Christ, if somebody out there has offended us in something that they've said or something that they've posted, if we feel like we're having trouble making peace in our hearts, maybe it's going to keep us from returning to communion or something like this, then it would be really good for us to listen to those words of Christ and to take it to heart and to go to the person privately. And I understand sometimes you can't get to them, especially if it's online. It could be somebody in Arkansas, or I don't know, Russia, or who knows, Canada. But anyway, if someone offends you, to go to them privately. I guess that would be, if they're long distance, you go to them by a phone call or maybe by an email if you have to. But you go to them privately and just say, this thing that you said, it's really gotten to me, and here's why. And what you'll sometimes find is that there was just a misunderstanding, especially when we're talking about things online. But it's a good thing to try and make peace, to be at peace, to hold nothing against anybody. And the way that we do that is not by going to 10 immediately, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. We don't want to go to a 10 immediately. We want to start with the words of Christ and go one-on-one and tell our brother or sister what it is that they've done or said that has caused us harm internally, and do our best to make peace with them. Peace is something that, my goodness, you can't put a price tag on it. It's something that if you don't have it, you do almost anything to get it, right? And if you do have it, it's a great treasure to be protected. So let's help one another be at peace. Let's make sure that we are at peace with all of our brothers and sisters in Christ, in the church especially, in our parish especially, as we prepare ourselves to return to the liturgical life of the church and the communion of the church, that we're not bringing baggage with us, stuff that people said over the last 10 or 11 weeks of lockdown, that we saw, whatever, right? If it's hurting and offending us, that we're doing our best to let go of it, but if we need to go to our brother or sister privately and do our best to make peace with them, so that when we come back here and we stand next to them with 6 feet in between, we stand next to them, that we are at peace in our heart and our soul with them, that we can receive the body and blood of Christ together with them and know that we are not eating and drinking unto condemnation. Christ is in our midst. He is and ever shall be.